They vanished without a sound, not in the desert, not at sea, but on the blood-soaked fields of World War I France, in front of thousands of eyewitnesses. An entire American unit, 278 men, fully armed, highly trained, led by one of the most brilliant commanders the U.S. Army ever produced. 1 minute they were seen advancing through morning fog. The next minute, they were gone. No bodies, no weapons, no tracks, no survivors. The U.S. government sealed the files for nearly a century. This is the story they never meant for America to remember. Part 1. The order that should never have been given. 1. The letter in the attic, modern day, 2019, Virginia, USA. When Emma Caldwell opened the wooden attic chest her grandfather left behind, she expected to find old medals, maybe a diary, at most a folded flag. She did not expect a military envelope stamped Top Secret, U.S. Army Signal Corps, 1918, sealed with wax that hadn't been broken in 101 years. Inside was a short message, typewritten, faded. If I disappear, the truth is inside the valley. Find the 3 markers. Ask no one, trust no one. Lt. Colonel Jacob R. Caldwell, the Vanishing Battalion. Emma froze. Her grandfather's grandfather, Lt. Colonel Jacob Caldwell, had died in World War I. That's what the family had always been told. But the phrasing was wrong. If I disappear, that wasn't a soldier leaving a farewell note. That was a man who knew something was coming. Emma turned the letter over. Another line was penciled on the back. What happened on October 5th, 1918 must never be forgotten. She had no idea what all of this meant, but she would soon learn. It was the date of America's greatest wartime mystery, one erased from every schoolbook. Part 2. The Forgotten Unit. In 1918, as World War I neared its violent climax, the U.S. Army created a highly specialized experimental unit, the 313th Reconnaissance and Signal Battalion. Official purpose: long-range communications, deep reconnaissance, recovery of downed Allied codes. Unofficial purpose, later discovered, to investigate unexplained battlefield disappearances. Because the Western Front had a secret. Entire patrols were vanishing. French units, British platoons, German squads. No bodies, no gunfire, no evidence of retreat. Just gone. The U.S. Army High Command wanted answers. They selected Lt. Colonel Jacob R. Caldwell, a brilliant but unorthodox strategist known for noticing things other officers ignored. Caldwell's battalion was small, agile, and trained to operate independently behind shifting front lines. But no one knew that this battalion would one day become the disappearance itself. 3. Orders from General Pershing. On September 27, 1918, Caldwell was summoned to the headquarters of General John J. Pershing, commander of the entire American Expeditionary Forces. Pershing didn't mince words. "Colonel," he said, sliding a coded report across the table, "the French lost another patrol last night." Caldwell frowned. "German capture?" "No." Pershing tapped the page. "Read." The report was short. Terrifyingly short. Patrol entered the Charlevoix Valley at 0400. Last transmission. We see lights. No trace found. No enemy movement recorded. Fog reported unusually dense. Caldwell read it twice. How many men? 33, Pershing said, then leaned closer. And this makes it the 7th disappearance in 6 weeks. Caldwell's stomach tightened. 7 patrols, 7 valleys, 7 complete vanishings. No gunshots, no prisoners, no wreckage. Just silence. Pershing fixed him with a steely look. You will take your battalion, enter the Charlevoix Valley, investigate the French disappearance, and return within 48 hours. Caldwell hesitated. Sir, with respect, valleys don't just swallow men. Pershing's voice tightened. This valley does. 4. Into the fog. October 5th, 1918. 05:20 a.m. Charlevoix Valley, France. A thick, unnatural fog clung to the ground, blinding even soldiers just a few feet apart. Caldwell raised his hand in signal. The battalion, 278 men, began their descent into the valley. Caldwell whispered to his adjutant, "Fog's too thick. Doesn't feel natural." "It's the war, sir," the adjutant replied. "No," Caldwell said, "this is something else." The deeper they went, the quieter the world became. No gunfire, no wind, no birds. Just silence. Then they heard it. A faint humming, like distant machinery, yet mechanical engines in 1918 couldn't make a sound like this. It wasn't steady. It pulsed, almost like breathing. The men stiffened. "What is that?" someone whispered. Caldwell didn't answer. The humming grew louder, vibrating the ground beneath their feet. Then the fog glowed faintly, swirling in impossible patterns, almost geometric, like shapes repeating inside shapes. "Colonel," the adjutant whispered nervously, "should we pull back?" Caldwell opened his mouth to respond, and then the world lit up. 5. The last recorded transmission. At 05:47 a.m., the signal corps in the rear lines received the final message ever sent by the 313th Battalion. Static at first, then Caldwell's voice. "We've reached the valley floor, seeing lights, movement in the fog. Something is..." A high-pitched sound shrieked across the line. Then nothing. The transmission cut off. Technicians at the listening post stared at each other. One said quietly, "Did he say lights?" The other nodded. "Same as the French patrol." 6. What the scouts saw. Eyewitness report, unreleased until 1953. 3 American scouts positioned on the ridge above the valley watched the battalion enter the fog. They expected to see lantern flickers, shadows, movement of troops. Instead, they saw light. White light, rising through the fog like lightning trapped in a cloud. Then the humming. One scout dropped his binoculars in panic. "Jesus Christ, what is that?" The fog churned like boiling water, a swirling vortex that began to rise, lifting dust and leaves into the air. Then a flash. Blinding. White. Silent. When the scouts blinked away the momentary blindness, the fog was settling. The valley was quiet. And the battalion, every single American soldier, was gone. The scouts ran back to headquarters in terror. But the report they filed was classified immediately, buried, sealed for 95 years. Part 1 end. Ready for part 2?